Alright, this is going to be a brief introduction on how to use our EME system here at W4ATC. First of all, you're going to want to turn on your 9700, as we've done here. This here is our SHF linear amplifier. This is what's going to put out around 500 watts to our antenna. So go ahead and turn that on if it's not already, and you're also going to want to turn on the preamp switch. The other two switches should be down. Next, we're going to come over here. This is our sequencer, very important to make sure that this is on. We're going to go ahead and power it on, turn on the preamp as well, and then it should look something like this. Now up here, if this is not already on, this is our rotator controller. So flip this switch and then this one to power it on, and this is going to display how the antenna is actually pointed up on the roof. Now, we're going to come over here to the computer, and we're going to need a couple programs open in order to rotate the antenna. First of all, I want to see exactly where we're pointed and just make sure that none of our cables get tangled up while we're rotating. So I'm going to come down here to this R logo, Rio Link. This is our camera. And we can see that open right up. So this is the live look at our roof. As you can see, nice and sunny up there. So let's go ahead and open up now our rotator control, which is going to be this one here, PST rotator. You can find that either by searching it. It should be pinned to the taskbar here. Let's go ahead and open that up. And there we go. So it gives you a couple windows. First of all, this is the gray line here. This is just going to show you a map of the world, and it's going to show you what's in daylight and what's in nighttime. Over here is our propagation table. You might see this on a website like QRZ. It just gives you a rough estimate of how the bands are going to perform at that particular time. And up here is our rotator. So you can see it's currently set at 180 and 90 elevation. 180 is our azimuth, which matches what we see on our rotator control here. Now say I want to point it at 60-degree elevation. I can click and drag here, bring it to 60, and you should hear a relay click in our controller, and you should start seeing the dish rotate there. Now if we want to switch the azimuth to say 150, we can click and drag, and it will automatically start turning as well. Now whenever you're doing these rotations, it's great to have the camera up, because these cables do drag on the roof, and we just want to make sure that nothing's snagged, because if we force it, we don't want anything to get cut or damaged in any way. So now that you've got it tilted down, we're going to go ahead and put it in park mode, which is a preset to 180 and 90. That's the best way to stow it, just reduces the wind load while it's not in use. Now you'll notice here that there's something that says mode. It's manual or tracking. If we go ahead and click tracking, we can see that a little moon icon appears. Now because the moon's not up right now, nothing's happening. But if it was up, it would automatically calculate where the moon is relative to us and tilt the antenna to point at it. Now if we click tracker here at the top, we can change what we're tracking. So we can click sun, and the antenna is going to go ahead and rotate and point at the sun. Now for this, I'm going to turn up the volume, and as we get closer to the sun, you'll hear that the volume increases. All right, slight volume increase there. It does go up about 7 dB. So now we're pointed at the sun, and if we sweep to either side, you can hear that the noise level will go up and down. So that's how we rotate the antenna. Let's go ahead and park it again. And then to actually make contacts, we're going to need to open WSJTX, which you may be familiar from FT8 or other digital operations. So we'll double click that. Let it go ahead and open. And that automatically takes control of our radio. So if you're not familiar with this program, down here is what our radio is set to. This is our time and date UTC. And then over here is are a bunch of presets for different modes. So with EME, we're always going to use Q65. That's just kind of the standard for 1296. we're gonna go ahead and click that mode. And you can see it's set to 70 centimeters, but we want 1296. So we're gonna go down to any one of these. We'll say 065. And now we're actually ready to operate EME, assuming that the sun is up. A good way to coordinate your contacts, though, is through this website called HB9Q, and it's kind of a chat room, and I'll go ahead and open that and show you how to use it. All right, so I just looked up HB9Q, and this is the startup page. We're going to go ahead and click Start EME Logger, and then we log in with our call sign and password, which are on stickers under here. So I'll go ahead and put those in. And here we go. So this is what HB9Q is going to look like after you log in. We can see the UTC time here on the left, and then these are messages from people around the world. And then who is online is another thing over here. We can see what stations are currently logged in. So this is where you want to come if you want to schedule a contact. You can just type a message out here. You always want to include, if you're calling CQ, what frequency you're on, whether you're on first or second minute, which you can select here. That's what it's referring to. And then you also wanted to always say CFOM, that means constant frequency on the moon at 1500 hertz. And then you'll include your name and call sign. Now, there's another window that pops up when we open WSJCX, and that's going to be this one, astronomical data. When you're doing EME, there's two different modes that you're going to use. If you're doing the echo mode, you're always going to want to set your Doppler tracking to own echo, because the speed of the moon relative to your position is different relative to somebody else's position. So the Doppler shift is going to be different. So the radio needs to know where to transmit and where to listen. So if we click own echo, and we want to hear our own echoes, we'll go over to the main window, hit mode, and we'll come on down to echo, click that, and then you're ready. So when you're ready to start transmitting, you've got the antenna pointed at the moon and everything, you're just going to hit enable TX. Of course, we're not pointed at the moon right now because it's not up, but you're going to hear relays click, and you're going to see this needle jump here. So we're putting nearly 500 watts into the coax up to the antenna. Now take a look at this EME sequencer here. What this does, it just makes sure that everything is turning on and off at the appropriate times, because we don't want anything getting fried, particularly our preamp. So it's very important to make sure that that's on when you're operating. Now this is your graph. If the moon had been up, we'd see a big spike here around 0. This is just the information that the program is getting reflecting off of the moon. All this is our background noise, but again, if there was any echo, you'd see a spike here. Now, up here, we've got the UTC time, our Doppler shift, and then N is just the number of trials, so trial 1, 2, 3, it transmitted 3 times. Q is our confidence that we're hearing our own echoes. You'll see this between 0 and 10. SNR is just a measure of signal to noise ratio, of course. Usually when you're hearing an echo, you'll see that be around -16 to -19. And that's the important stuff. So now that we're done with echoes, if we want to make a contact, we're going to set to CFOM, constant frequency on moon. So we're just going to click that little radio button. There you go. We're going to come back to our main window, make sure that we're in Q65 mode, and make sure that we're on 23 centimeters. Just pick one of these, and then you're ready to enable TX. Just hit that, and it'll do everything automatically. Just like FT8, you'll see a station respond to your call over here. You double click it, and it will automatically go through these macros here. And then it's just good form to thank them for the contact on HB9Q if you scheduled it. And when you're done, all you need to do is close out WSJTX, just like that. Make sure you're looking at the camera when you park the antenna, just to make sure, again, nothing snags. If something does snag, just hit stop and it'll quit moving. Close out your PST rotator, just with the X there, and you're done. Then you can go ahead and just turn off your amp, sequencer, rotator control, and finally the radio.